and let's click. Here we are. So Ilse, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Yes, I am a holistic wellness and weight loss specialist, as well as a regenerative health practitioner. I've been certified as a life and a health coach, and I really love helping people just feel great in their bodies. And this is a great way to do it. So that's my little spiel. Heidi.
And I am a holistic private chef and also a regenerative health practitioner, as well as a certified yoga teacher with Ayurvedic training. So, all right.
I'm a carpenter.
Woo! We need you around.
Chris, people, builder, carpenter. We also need people like Chris in the world.
Yes.
So what we want to say, so we want to help you guys with this whole process. We love the idea of tracking because we often forget where we started, and it happens so gradually that it suddenly becomes our normal and we don't realize how far we've come. So we find that tracking your progress really helps you see how far you've come in just 1 month. So what we recommend to do this is to start taking photos now, today, or tomorrow before you start. And you want to do your face, close-ups of your face, your nails, your hair, your body, your tongue. And then later on, at the end of the month, we're going to take time to go back and compare these things. So
it gets really exciting. So don't skip this part because it may seem menial, but it like you see things change and you're like, oh my God, wow, it's happening.
Is that tracked daily or like weekly or?
Just once, at the beginning and at the end, I think is the best way to go about it. Usually that's the most exciting way to go about it. And if you want to track anything else to start off with, like you can take your measurements or something if you feel like it. I say throw away the scale, ditch the scale, forget about that. But if you want to like track your waistline or like other parts of your body that you want to see differences in, sometimes that's fun too.
Cool.
Yeah.
So my beer belly.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you like.
Measure it. So some of the things that we have been studying, Ilse and myself, is this really amazing tool called facial mapping. So our body, our external body actually tells us a lot about what's going on inside. And so we're going to go through a few slides right now and talk about some of the points that we can look at. So you can look at your own body and see if any of these things apply to you. And again, you can also track these and then compare in a month. So our tongues tell us an amazing amount of stuff, and they change rapidly. Like our tongue is maybe would you agree, Elsa? It's like the most like rapid changing like feature, like
yeah, I would say so. The tongue and the eye, but we'll get into that later.
Yeah. So here are a couple of examples. So we have the systemic candida. So it's a white film on your tongue. A lot of us have this. I myself have had this and I've been detoxing for months and I can't get rid of it. So don't any of these things, if these apply to you, don't worry. It's just signs, it's just things to pay attention to, and everything can be, worked on and improved. So just so you know, so we've got the systemic candida as a white film on the tongue. And then on the tongue on the right, you can see the scallops on the edges around the outside of the tongue. That is a sign of, it might mean that your body is lacking nutrients, is having a hard time absorbing nutrients. So the tongue actually expands to try and absorb more nutrients from our food. And when it expands, it's pushing up against our teeth, which is causing those scalloped ridges. It may also be a sign of low iodine, or our thyroid might need support. So it's things to consider. And then you can also see in this tongue example, there's a couple cracks in the tongue. This is going to be a little bit more complex, but when there's cracks on the tongue, the tongue has different places that signify different organs in the body. So depending on where the cracks are, it will, it's indicating different organs in the body, but we won't go too far into that. But just so you know, the tongue does speak worlds. So tongue speaks.
Tongue's got a lot to say.
So you can take a look at your tongue, take a picture, and see how it changes. Another thing to look at is the eyes. So around the eyes in particular, you can also look at the iris, but right now we're going to look more around the eyes. So here you can see in both of these examples, there's bags directly under the eye that are kind of like puffy, and it kind of looks like there's fluid in there. This is usually a sign that the kidneys are needing some love, that they need some support. So you're having, accumulation toxin buildup in the body, because the kidneys are one of our biggest eliminators. Kidneys, skin, lungs, and bowels are eliminating parts of the body, and so this is a sign that our kidneys are not eliminating as much as they should be. So that's another example. Here you can see it's a little bit more it's a little bit less obvious, but on both of these examples, can you see my mouse when I do this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So these lines right here under the eyes, so they, right here and right here, it's just under the eyes. It's kind of like a crease here as well.
I have that on my eyes.
Generally a sign of parathyroid weakness, which is going to be how the body is using calcium, and it's usually due to acidosis, which means that the body is very acidic, which is due to our diet, and we'll talk about that. We'll be getting into that later on today. So just something else to consider. Another is browning, bruising under the eyes. So here we've got adrenals when it's more on the inside, like over here you can see this is more liver stress. So you can also look if you've got any bruising around the eyes. That also indicates different organs of the body. And then eyebrows, surprisingly, also tell us a lot. So when there's thinning of the eyebrows, or they don't grow out as far as they should, either on the ends or in the center, or they kind of disappear, that's also speaking about different organs. So you can see on this woman in the center of her eyebrows, they're kind of, missing. And the center of the eyebrows is liver. Over here, we can see on the inside, it seems like they're not growing as far over as they should be. This is the kidney location. And then on this man, you can see over here on the end, it's kind of thinning out on the ends, and that's thyroid. So you can also take a look at your eyebrows, see if any of those show up on your face. And then this is Elsa, do you want to talk about this one? Because I know you love this one.
I know, I'm obsessed with the crow's feet because I have them myself. And I was really excited when I heard that, like, they're not something that you like, unless you're really old, like really, really old. It's not something that naturally needs to be on your face. It's not just a natural age line. It actually represents organs in the body. So you'll see the top line here is related to the small intestine. So if you have that crease, you may have some small intestine distress. And the middle line is the liver and the bladder. And then the lower line is actually a heart line, that you may have some congestion going on in the heart area. So I just found this fascinating when I learned it, and I was like, oh, I can make my crow's feet go away. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's super cool. We can anti-age, folks. It's not that hard. It's possible. Another thing we can look at is our nails. So when there's ridges in the nails, like on this one, that's another sign of potential parathyroid weakness. And again, you want to look at all of the symptoms. So if you have a few, you can be like, oh, okay, this is highly probable. So if you saw that you had those creases under the eye, and then you look at your nails and you also have the ridges, you can start to put pieces of the puzzle together. The white dots in our nails that I think we've all had at least at some point in our life is actually a zinc deficiency. One thing to note about zinc deficiency spots like this is that you actually do have to wait for them to grow out. So even if your zinc has improved, you're going to have the white dots, the white spots until they grow out. But it's good, something to look at. Here, if your cuticles are really dry, or if you have a lot of hangnails, this is usually an essential fatty acid deficiency. And then this one, I think I really like. So when your nails kind of curve up like this, like they kind of like stick straight out or curve up slightly, this is the vitamin B12 and potentially iron deficiency. So really interesting. But I do want to note, don't just go out and like dose yourself with supplements that you bought at like, some drugstore or like big chain mall, because a lot of those vitamins actually aren't what they say they are, and they're also chemical isolates, and your body doesn't know what to do with them. We want to start with the root source instead of like putting a band-aid on and just pumping zinc or B12 in our bodies. We actually want to work on our absorption, which is what we'll be working on this month. So,
and that's best with whole food nutrition. Your body can recognize whole foods and use all of those things immediately. Whereas a vitamin isolate, again, your body doesn't know what to do with it, and then it's just going to create more inflammation.
Yeah.
Cool.
And this one is super interesting too. So hair. This is just one example. Receding hairlines, even on men, it's actually usually a sign of gallbladder stress and lymphatic congestion. So, you know, even men, like, just because they say it's genetic, it doesn't mean that you have to live with this. Like, you know, this could actually be improved through nutrition. So something to look at as well. And women as well, obviously, as a woman. All right.
All right. So I want to bring up detox symptoms, because sometimes they do occur during the month, especially if you're going full force with the cleanse, and during the parasite cleanse, especially the middle 10 days, the 10-day window. Sometimes you will experience a couple of these things, and sometimes you won't. Not everybody does, but we like to just put it out there so that you're not surprised or be like, what's happening to me, or quit the cleanse in the middle because you're feeling some of these things. So just a few things that might come up are headaches, mild fatigue, mild flu symptoms, skin irritation, constipation, or loose stools. And if you start experiencing these things, there are some ways that we can help you improve these situations as you go. So please reach out to us personally, and we're happy to answer any questions and really support you through this process. Because when you are shedding cellular waste, those toxins are then mobilized to get carried out of your body. And this sometimes will cause discomfort for a short, acute period of time. So this shouldn't be long. It's not going to be your whole cleanse, but like if these things pop up for you, it's natural. It's your body just getting rid of the waste. So don't give up. This is like a good sign that like you're repairing everything that's going on.
It's all to be celebrated.
Celebrate that loose stool.
Right? Celebrate it. Woo! I got a headache. Yeah. So also
Perfect.
specifically with headaches and like flu-like feeling symptoms, drink more water. When I'm detoxing, drink like double the water that you normally do. I have like, when I started taking a Biomedic on the regular, I got so thirsty. And the more water I drank, the better I felt. So when in doubt, drink more water. Put citrus in that water too, so that your body can absorb it more easily.
Cool.
So let's talk about the science behind it. Like, why are we doing what we're doing? I feel like this is a really useful aspect to know, so that, you know, I've always wanted to know the why, you know, like why should I do this? So acidic versus alkaline, we're going to talk about that. So acidic things are, the most acidic things are meat, coffee, dairy, alcohol, cigarettes, refined sugars, refined breads, and the emotion of anger. The mind-body connection, we're going to talk about this in a future workshop, but it is real. And I can't wait to share more with you about that, but we thought we'd add the anger on there. Alkaline things are fruits and vegetables, raw vegetables especially, coconut, millet, amaranth, quinoa, and joy. One thing that I like to share is that when you don't cook your foods, you are getting so much more nutrients. When you cook your foods, you're losing like up to 60% of the nutrient quality that's in the food. So that's why we say lean into your raw fruits and vegetables, because you're getting so much more from them, and it's easier for your body to process them and actually get all those goodies.
And I want to add that a lot of vegans and plant-based, you know, people get a bad rap because they say like, oh, vegans always end up with nutrient deficiencies. And it's oftentimes because they are not eating enough raw foods. So if you eat too much cooked plant food and that's your diet, like if you're a plant-based diet, you really want to make sure you're incorporating a lot of raw. You can still have cooked foods too, but you really want to make sure you're getting raw fruit and vegetables in, because as Ilse said, that's where we're going to get all of the nutrients. So
I like to mix my raw foods with my cooked foods now, so I get like a nice mix sometimes too. It's really fun to make a stir fry and make it half raw, half cooked. So you get a lot of flavor in there, but you're also getting a lot of raw foods.
Ooh, that's
Good. I do that. I used to do that with that's it. Pasta is a thing on our list here, but I used to make like cold pasta salads. And I do that too. We do like partially cooked, partially raw. It's really good for texture and everything.
Exactly.
And nutrients.
Yes.
Yeah.
Go, Chris.
And also cook on like low temperatures. Like you can like cook like zucchini or something in the oven, but like at like the lowest temperature possible for like an hour.
It's under 108 degrees. Sorry.
Okay.
Oh, under 180.
Under 108.
108. Okay.
So it is very
Good to
low,
know.
but you can cook it for a more extended period of time and it will hold more nutrient content.
Mm-hmm. It's nice because it changes the texture.
So
Noted.
acidic bodies. So what happens in an acidic body? Like, why should we not be adding acids or like eating meats and things? It's because it causes an inflammatory state in the body, which then is it leads to all other sorts of issues. The acids actually burn and inflame and destroy our tissues and our cells. Hormones become out of balance. Oh, and another thing about the acids burning and inflaming and destroying our tissues and cells is that our body will steal calcium and hydrogen from other areas of our body to buffer the acids in our system. So that's why like athletes sometimes get more injuries and things, because they eat high protein diets and then their body needs to steal calcium from other areas to buffer those acids. So I just feel like that's really interesting.
Yeah.
And some bodies do it with fat, which is why some people
hold on
to fat. It's because their bodies, instead of using calcium, their bodies use fat instead to buffer the acids. So it's super fascinating when you start to dive into the science.
That's true. So hormones become out of balance when we're in an acidic state. Our cells actually start clumping. It's something called a cationic state. And this creates malabsorption and cellular death. And that can lead to strokes and those sorts of things. Because when the cells start clumping, then the nutrients can't get into the outside of the cell. They're all like bound together. And this can create tumors and those sorts of things too, and eventually lead to cancer. Fats, minerals, and constituents begin bonding together, which creates stones in the liver and gallbladder and kidneys. Congestion and excessive mucus is made when we're in an acidic state, especially with dairy products. They are highly mucus forming. And this is 99% of the cause of illness these days, is just like congestion and mucus, over mucus in our system. There's something called mucoid plaque that builds up in our gut, and it builds up on the lining of our gut wall. So the villi that's on our gut walls that actually absorbs our nutrients can no longer access that nutrients at all because it's covered in the plaque. And dairy is one of the biggest culprits for that.
Bread too.
And when we're in an acidic body, we have worse cravings. We crave what is bad for us. It's really interesting. And once you start moving, like even if you commit to like 10 days of alkalizing, you will notice a change in your taste buds too. You will start craving healthier things. I noticed this over like gradually over a 3-month period of time with myself, where I was like at the beginning, still craving alcohol and sweets and burritos every day, you know, one of my favorite foods. And now, I love burritos. And they're not that bad for you, you know, but there's still a lot of, like, there's protein and all sorts of things in there. So now I feel very different. I'm craving more raw fruits, raw vegetables. And like I ate a burrito the other day and it didn't even taste that good to me. And I was like, what? But it's wild how our bodies change when we change what we're eating. And it is a gradual process, so it can be frustrating, but don't give up because things get better and cravings will decrease.
Cool. That's good.
Oh, alkaline bodies.
A lot.
Right already. So alkaline bodies, what happens when we're alkaline? It's really cool. It has cooling and anti-inflammatory effects. The cells become cationic, which means they disperse and they flow freely around each other. So just imagine all of your cells just jamming out and like there's nothing touching them. They have blood and oxygen flowing around them, and they can absorb things all around the cell. And they build electrolytes. They create proper cellular respiration, so your cells can breathe because they have to breathe and poop just like we do. And the optimized nutrient transportation. So this means that nutrients are able to travel where they need to go all over the body in a much more easy flowing manner. It is detoxifying and rehydrating. So when we're in an alkaline state and we're actually eating raw foods all the time, the body naturally detoxes, which is really cool. And it's so much easier to stay hydrated. Enhancing cellular functions. So in general, when you're alkaline, your body's just working better. Everything can function properly. It's in its state that it's supposed to be in. And it creates an environment for cellular repair. So if you need repair in your body, and I feel like we all do at this point, especially in America with our sad American diets. So it's very important if you are dealing with symptoms or things that you don't want to be dealing with to move your body into an alkaline state, because that is the only way that it's going to be able to repair itself, because the body is designed to be able to recover from anything as long as you give it the right environment.
Mm-hmm. And we should have made a slide. I was just thinking as you were talking, Elsa, the next slide should be, but it's not. We'll add it in for the next time. We want to think about having 80% of our diet be alkaline foods and 20% of our diet being, the more indulgent foods. So that should be a nice slide. Imagine a big 80-20. And that's
because we're not saying like, don't ever eat the foods that you like ever again, that's no way to live, but like thinking about the 80-20 in a general sense is how you maintain as you move forwards, maintaining good health. And I feel like the more that you lean into the alkaline state of mind, the easier it becomes to actually embrace that state of being as well.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. All right, so now we're going to talk a little bit, this is like a hot topic in the nutrition world and definitely in the fitness world, macros versus micros. So everyone's talking about tracking their macros, want to track proteins, carbs, and fats. What we are working with is we're going to talk more about amino acids, vitamins, and minerals. So we want to think more about how the body can use the nutrients that we're feeding it rather than like these big macros, because all the macros actually are complex they're complex molecules that need to be broken down in the body. So we really want to think more about like, okay, how can we get in the easiest, most bioavailable nutrition? And this comes back to plant-based nutrition. So we're going to dive in a little bit further. The protein myth. Oh goodness, this is a good debate topic. If you ever want to stir things up around the dinner table, just start talking about the protein myth. I'm sure you'll get all sorts of opinions. So the protein myth. Our bodies actually use amino acids. So amino acids are the building blocks of protein. So you can see in this diagram, these are your amino acids. They form into peptide chains, and then the peptide chains form together into coils to create proteins, what we call complete proteins, complex proteins. Everyone is focused on, oh, I have to get all my protein in. And so everyone's focused on these big complex chains, which is where you'll get from all animal sources, eggs, cheese, meats, all the like that. They're actually complex proteins that need to get broken down back to their amino acid state so our bodies can actually use them to repair our cells, to make new structures, to enhance the immune response, and everything else that we think protein does. It's actually amino acids. Mm-hmm. So our bodies use amino acids, not protein.
So it breaks, our body wants to break it down, but then does it join with the peptide again and become a complex protein again?
So what happens is
it just breaks down and takes the amino acid out of it.
Mm-hmm. And we don't always need all of the amino acids in the chain. So it might it has to break down the protein, and then it's got all these random amino acids, right? So it'll pick out a few from the protein chain and be like, oh, I need this over here and I need that over there. And then the rest of the amino acids that may or may not be usable for them, they toss out into the lymphatic system. And that's why we get all this inflammation and congested lymph, because we have those extra amino acids that our body doesn't know what to do with. So when we're eating isolated amino acids, or I don't want to say isolated, what would you say, Heidi? Broken down amino acids, the core, the root amino acids that are already broken down for us, then our body can delegate and use them immediately. And also it doesn't have to work to break them down. And it's using much more of them in different areas of the body.
Mm-hmm. So our bodies have to, sorry, do you have a question, Chris?
No.
Okay. So our bodies have to break down the proteins into amino acids. This process requires energy instead of giving energy. So this always makes me laugh because people, like, there's actually, so plants, which I'll get into, plants, fruits and vegetables have a ton of amino acids. They don't have complete proteins, but they have tons of amino acids. But everyone is so focused on getting their proteins, which mostly comes from the animal kingdom. But really what we just need are amino acids, because when we're eating proteins from the animal kingdom, we have to break it down. And this whole process requires a ton of energy. It creates a ton of byproducts, which is what Ilse was talking about. And at the end of the day, it's like, you're not even getting that much bang for your buck. Whereas if you just ate a whole bunch of, a variety of plants, you're actually giving your body all of these amino acids that require no energy because there's no breakdown process. And so you actually are getting more, you're getting more fuel for your body because you're not having to go through this breakdown process. So toxic byproducts of a complete protein breakdown are things like nitrogen compounds, ammonia, uric acid, which causes gout. It also causes arthritis, phosphoric acid, sulfuric acid, ketogenic acid. Do you see a common thread here? There's all these acids.
Acid.
It's all acid, which is what we're trying to avoid. These acids are irritating and they create inflammation, which is what Ilse went through so beautifully back in the alkaline versus acidic bodies section. We want to avoid putting our bodies into these acidic states. So high protein consumption can deplete calcium and other electrolytes. Again, we're just, this is all connected. Like Ilse was also just talking about this. When our bodies are in high acidic states, our bodies need to buffer these acidic cells because actually our blood cannot change its pH. Like if our blood changes pH, we will die. So our body does everything that it must do to protect our blood pH. So when our body starts to be really acidic, it needs to buffer that and it will start stealing calcium and other electrolytes from our body to buffer the calcium to keep our blood at the pH of 7.4. So plant amino acids are more energetic. They provide more energy. They're easy for your body to break down and use. So what does that mean? It means you want to consume a variety, which is the key word, a variety of fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. So in our alkaline foods. And yeah. So that's that. Did you want to add something else?
I heard this a while ago. Oh.
Yeah, go for it.
I was going to say, I heard this many years ago, but I thought it was pretty interesting that you were saying about the variety. When you're eating a variety of color, that's also a really important thing because that actually kind of shows the different nutrients that are in whatever it is you're eating, like different vegetables or fruits.
I always tell my clients to eat the rainbow. Eat the rainbow, not like cereal style, but vegetable style, and fruit style. Because it's more, it's visually stimulating too when you have all those colors. And there is actually a process of digestion that starts with sight. And it activates your saliva and ptyalin enzymes that happen in the mouth. So by seeing all these bright colors, you're actually jump-starting your digestion.
That's cool too.
Yeah.
I love that.
All right, so to finish up here, I wanted us to just get in touch with our why underneath our why, as far as like, why are we taking this journey right now at this point in our life? So if you're willing, I want you to have a little adventure with us. And if you're comfortable and in a safe space, to close your eyes for 1 minute and just have a little imagination journey with me. Are you down to do that, Chris? Nancy?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Yay. So take a deep breath and imagine yourself already having everything that you want with your health. And you've gone through the cleanse, you've got more energy. Imagine yourself, where are you? Are you in your house? Are you outside? Just first thing that comes to mind. What are you seeing around you when you have everything that you want?
You want us to answer?
You don't have to, but you can if you want to. What are you seeing?
I'm on the road.
Sorry, you're on the road?
Yeah, I'm taking a big road trip in June. So that's where I'm imagining myself.
Beautiful. Nice for Chris. And what are you smelling? What are you tasting? What are you hearing around you now that you have everything you're striving for? Maybe it's a friend's voice. Maybe it's the birds in the trees, whatever's coming up for you. Maybe it's new people in your business talking to you, being like, oh my God, how'd you do this? And then lastly, what are you feeling as well? What are you feeling inside of you? How does your body feel physically? Take a moment and breathe this in. And how are you feeling mentally? Are you excited? How are you feeling emotionally? And do you notice any different in your spirit or even your spirituality, if that speaks to you? When you have everything you're striving for. Let's take a deep breath and breathe that in. And now I want you to ask yourself, when all of this has already happened, what is possible for you now? In your personal life, in your relationships, in your finances, in your business, in your adventures, your spirit. What else is possible now that you couldn't do before? Let's take a breath. Let's breathe that in. And when you're ready, open your eyes and come back to us in the room. And if you want to just share a little highlight of what you experienced, feel free. It's totally optional. Did anything surprise you? And even if you don't want to share, make a note of it in your mind. If anything surprised you about what might be possible in your future once you have this next step that you desire.
Yeah.
And if you're listening,
for me, it was just quitting smoking.
Oh yeah,
That was the big one.
yeah.
That is a big one. Oh my goodness, what beautiful.
Chris, I just
Yeah,
want to say,
she knows it well.
oh, sorry. What do you say, Chris?
I was saying Heidi knows it well.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm a big smoker.
Yeah.
Well, I've been a big smoker for the majority of my life. And I just want to say that it is possible. And actually through cleansing, I have been tapering myself down and tapering myself down and tapering myself down and I couldn't quite let it go. I haven't quite been able to let it go. And this past month, I finally did. So I'm excited for you in this process because it gets easier. I promise you that.
Yeah, right now it's totally not.
Hi, Mama. That's my mom. Sorry.
Hi, Nancy. It's so good to
I didn't know it was you. I thought it was a different Nancy because I don't think
that was my mom's name.
Oh, well, there you go. Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure.
Is there anything else that we want to touch on before we finish up with some breath work? Any questions coming up for you too?
No.
What'd you say?
Well,
go ahead.
What'd you say? I couldn't hear you.
Oh, I think Chris and Nancy, you spoke at the same time, so I was just wondering what you had both said.
I didn't say anything.
Oh, okay, cool.
Mom,
did you say anything?
I'm just looking forward to your next presentation. I think this is a splendid idea.
Oh, yay. I'm so glad you enjoyed it. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you both for spending your time with us. We really appreciate it. Ilse and I are excited this is our first time presenting all of this information, and we're both so passionate about it. And it's just it feels really good to finally put this out in the world. So thank you for being our audience.
Totally. Happy to be here.
All right. Heidi, do you want to lead us in some breath work?
Yeah.
And then this is totally optional. You don't have to stay for it because I know not everybody's into meditation and breath work, but if you want to, we are here and we're going to do just a couple minutes of breath work and a short meditation.
Yeah. And actually, surprisingly, breathing using the breath is actually a beautiful form of detoxification. It actually helps the body expel toxins. So we encourage it, but as Ilse said, we don't want to force anybody into something they're not comfortable with. So totally optional. So here we're going to do today, we're going to take a breathwork exercise from the yogic and Ayurvedic world. It's called Nadi Shodhana, and it's alternate nostril breathing. So quick benefits before we jump in. It helps increase oxygen intake, clears and releases toxins. It brings balance to the left and right brain hemispheres, which will then, bring balance to the rest of the body. Also helps with mental clarity and alertness, and it calms and rejuvenates the nervous system. So this is a beautiful one to do if you're ever feeling stressed or in the morning before you go to bed. It truly is like a cure-all in terms of breathing exercises. So you just want to sit somewhere comfortable, and you want to sit with a good posture. So nice back up nice and straight. Just get comfy, make sure you're in a good spot. And you're going to take your right hand, and you're going to fold down your pointer finger and your middle finger down towards your palm. And then you're going to turn your palm towards your face. And you're going to use the thumb on your right nostril and the ring finger on your left nostril. So those are going to be your plugs. What you could also do is if you want to get some third eye stimulation, you could also, instead of folding your pointer and middle finger down towards your palm, you could also place those right on your third eye, and then again you'll be using your thumb and your ring finger on your nostrils. So whatever feels more comfortable to you. So you're going to close your eyes, and you're going to take a nice just deep inhale to start, and a full exhale to finish. And then you're going to close your right nostril with your thumb, and you're going to breathe in through your left nostril for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then you're going to close the left nostril and open your right nostril, and you're going to breathe out for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe in through the right nostril for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then out the left nostril, closing the right nostril for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale through the left for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale out the right for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale through the right for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale left for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale left, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale right, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale left, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale left, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale right, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale right, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale left, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale left, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale right, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale right, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale left, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale left, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale right, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale right, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale left, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we're just going to release both nostrils. You can release the hand down, keep your eyes closed. Just take a couple breaths, just normal breaths. You take one big inhale, clearing breath. And you can exhale out the mouth. Slowly open your eyes, or you can keep them closed, and Ilse will lead us right into a meditation.
Thank you for that, Heidi. And yes, if you want to just keep those eyes closed, take a deep belly breath with me, inhaling into the belly and exhaling through the mouth. We're going to take one more, inhaling all the way in through the nose. And at the top, you're going to sip in a little bit more, and a little bit more air, and a little bit more air, and let it all out. One more time, a deep breath with the little sips on top. Deep breathing in. Little sip more, a little sip more, and exhale all the way out. Now let your breath return to regular pace, whatever feels good for you. And notice any part of your body that may be touching the floor or a seat. Notice if you can imagine your spine elongating and lifting up, like there's a little string coming out of the crown of your skull, reaching up towards the sky and the clouds. And take another deep breath here, breathing in and out. And bringing your attention to your head and your face, noticing if there's any sensations, any tingling. And dropping your attention down to your neck. What's going on in there? Is there any tension? Any tension in the shoulders? Any sensations at all? Is it hot or cold? Does it feel stiff or loose? And if you find any area that's really tight, maybe breathing into that area with intention. And bringing your attention down to the chest and the belly. What's going on in the hips? And let's take another deep breath here, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Now dropping the attention down into the legs. Again, noticing, just noticing, are there any sensations or tightness, looseness? Down through the knees and the shins. Down into the ankles and the feet. And perhaps imagining roots growing, expanding deep out from your feet and into the earth, into the floor, wherever you're at, and into the ground, rooting yourself with Mother Earth. And let's take one more deep breath here, breathing in and breathing out. And whatever's popping up in your mind, just give gratitude to yourself. Say thank you, body. Thank you, mind, for showing up today. Thank you for taking this adventure with me, body. Thank you for being willing and open to change. And let's take one last deep breath, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. And give thanks to whatever you want to give thanks to in your life. And when you're ready, come back to us in the Zoom room. And I'm sorry if you can hear that noise. That is my alarm saying that I have another workshop to teach. So I am going to have to depart. I love you all. Okay. And I am so grateful that you could join us today. Thank you for springing.
Love you too. Thank you. Yeah.
Here we go. Thank you so much, Chris and Nancy. Thank you, Ilsa.
Yes, thank you. And let us know if you have any questions as you go along. We are here for you. Feel free to reach out to us on Facebook or however, any step of the way. I love you all. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.